Hi, I'm Metta Spencer, and we're going to Geneva today. I'm in Toronto, but I'm going to have some fun visiting an old friend, Alexander Likhotal, who's at his office or home, I think, in Geneva, Switzerland. Hi, how are you?
Hello, Meta. I'm fine, thank you. Great to see you. And that's, yes, indeed, this is my home.
Okay, terrific. But we're going to talk about what the world's going to like when the pandemic is over. That I bet you Zoom is still going to be in business 10 years from now. I bet other people will continue to use it instead of a lot of traveling. I bet they reduce. By the way, are you still being sent on missions for Mikhail Sergeyevich to give lectures? Or you can't now, but when was the last time you went on the speaking jaunt for him?
2019, almost, yes, 2 years ago. And since that time, I've been just available on Zoom.
Maybe you have some basis for predicting what you think is going to happen. Is it going to be a better world or worse?
Of course, I've been part of some effort which was done by the International Science Association on that matter, and they were preparing a report for the United Nations on that. So there were many scientists involved in that, and they produced a very interesting interim report. We're still working on that. And I was invited exactly to speak about the international impact of that. I've always been optimist strategically and pessimist operationally. And it didn't change.
I hadn't thought about it that way, but
it has become almost apocalyptic with several biblical horsemen raiding the earth now. From California to Siberia, everything is burning, which can't burn, drowning. Millions are doomed to catch the deadly virus because it's not yet finished. And in addition, now we have another problem, which was exacerbated by these two: inequality within states, both, again, both democracies and autocracies. This is not only about monetary inequality, but also about unequal access to education, healthcare, innovation, about gender, about racial inequality. And however, we're still talking about the usual things: nuclear deterrence, conflict, globalization, the struggle for hegemony between the United States and China, Biden and Putin, Ukraine, and you name it.
Yeah.
All this is a trifle against the background of really existential catastrophe and threats to stability, even for developed countries. You know, I think that there are causes worth, I wouldn't say fighting, but struggling for. And the causes are human freedom, democracy, liberal values, as we understand them. I'm not speaking about neoliberal economics. I'm talking about classical liberalism. I used to have a very good friend who said once to me, when I was saying to him that I feel a bit dubious being a Russian, I'm very critical about Russia today. And he told me a wonderful thing that I will never forget. It was more than 20 years ago. And he said, real patriotism is measured by a capacity to be ashamed for disgusting things done in the name of your people. And for me, there is a big gap between Russia, a country, a nation, which I love, which I belong to, and the current regime, which is absolutely has mutilated the society, Russian society.
But, you know, the rest of the world is caught up with Russia. So it isn't really that Russia's so much worse than a lot of other countries now. We've got this nationalistic right-wing attitude going everywhere. And I'm not sure that Trump wouldn't be reelected today in the U.S. So what does the U.S. have over Russia? Is Putin better than Trump? Well, he might be. If I had to choose between them, I don't know which I'd pick.
Even Trump have not imposed the new laws which make a criminal offense if you had dealt with a journalist or organization 2-3 years ago, and this year this organization or this journalist was announced to be a foreign agent.
Mm-hmm.
And then, even if you dealt with him 2-3 years before he was announced a foreign agent, you can be put in jail. How do you like that? I think that Orwell would be, looking in surprise on what's going on today in my country. But you're right, because we all need a kind of a wake-up call, because we are all sleepy with this feeling that, okay, everything is predictable, there are rough things that need to be a little bit polished, otherwise we are safe. The world is continuously morphing. It has never changed abruptly due to one crisis.
Mm-hmm.
The current crisis, as many crises before, will be not so much a turning point, but a catalyst, a kind of activator that will brutally reveal and intensify the tendencies for the transformation of the world. However, the crisis, by all means, will dramatically boost the speed of this change. As a result, I would say that the current world will be seriously changed and much faster than by a calm evolutionary process.
And there's a Chinese saying to the effect that something like crisis is opportunity. In other words, I read that as meaning you can't necessarily make any big change right now. You have to wait for a crisis to come along and knock people over the head and make them realize something urgently has to be done. And then maybe you can do it. But it's a good idea to do the planning now, to set it up, work it out what you need to do. And that's what I think we do have to work on, is have enough hope, maybe, to do the kind of planning and foresight so that if the crisis, the problem is with the crisis is it's like, what is it, the boiling frog kind of thing. It's troubles popping up here and there, and it isn't like you can see one thing, like a Wall Street crash is one big day when something big happens, or 9/11, or Pearl Harbor, or you've got Russian equivalents. Those are moments when you can see, okay, something drastic has happened instantly and everything has to shift. But it's more like things boiling around here and there, simmering here and there. And I don't see that it's the kind of thing that's going to create an opportunity.
Absolutely. I would say that the crisis, it has already revealed many new possibilities. It revealed new needs, and it revealed many needs that we do not need at all. Look, I'm sitting now mainly at home. I'm teaching my students at the university already 3 semesters mainly by Zoom and other means, remotely. And I just open my cupboard and I look at the row of my suits, and I'm just thinking, my God, why did I need all that? Now I need just a couple of shorts to change, And you don't see what I'm wearing downstairs, down there, jeans. That's it. So, and it dropped many needs. A pair of jeans is enough. The crisis also inspired innovation that promised better living over the long run, giving us more resilient economies, cleaner cities, and healthier offices. But we should take a minute and just start thinking about what world we want to live in the future, because the future is not preordained.
I agree.
We can influence in certain limits, of course, but we can influence. For instance, staying home when you are sick is here to stay. 3 years ago, I remember, even if you had a flu, it was considered, well, if you can move around, you should come to your office.
It's interesting. Yeah.
Forget about that. Now it's finished. While unnecessary business travel, what we have started with, is not. Lecture business also will be changing very much. How we shop, how we consult with our doctors have changed forever too.
Mm-hmm.
Whether we understand that, whether we want that or not. I think that COVID, let's call it COVID demon, will soon get enough of the victims because of vaccination and things that are going on. I don't know when, but it looks that sometime in the future, it will be more or less over. And, despite all the bad things economically that happened during the COVID pandemics, already almost 2 years, there was no economic collapse.
Yeah.
And with the end of the pandemics, the economic will simply boost on a new basis. There are already symptoms. Governments, I think, will soon bury the hatchet of a trade war.
Oh, really?
It's useless. It's simply useless. I think the helicopter money in some countries will not be cancelled.
The helicopter what?
Money. The money which was paid to the people just as a donation.
Oh, I hadn't heard that expression.
In the United States, 1.2 thousand each person which received this money. This is called the helicopter money.
I hadn't got that, but they sent me some, even though I live in Canada.
I think that it will turn gradually into universal basic income.
Well, I have actually made that prediction myself.
There has been a lot of hype lately around the so-called decentralized finance, an ecosystem of blockchain-based products and services replacing traditional financial intermediaries with some affordable and very spread software on the computers. There were, of course, blatant skepticism, there were confusion, there were crime around that. Only there was a scam with the South African crypto platform recently, AfriCrypt. However, the dry numbers show the growth of not only the hype, the total value of assets enclosed in decentralized finances increased from about 680 million in January 2020 to 45 billion in March this year.
Okay, you're going to have to help me because I'm not following. Decentralized finance.
I'm talking about the blockchain principle and the digital money, which exists today already. China has introduced the Chinese digital yuan this year already. In many countries, they have accepted that as a normal way of payment. And it exists everywhere now, practically in the majority of the countries. I do not understand how it it is generated as well. I'm not an expert in the field. I simply know that Elon Musk supported that, and he now sells Tesla for bitcoins.
But what I believe is a problem with it is, at least now, it's extremely helpful to crooks, because if for example, there's some sort of ransomware attack and people want millions and billions of dollars to be transferred to them, they put it into a blockchain thing and you can't trace it. If we tightened it up so that we could find out where the money went, if a ransomware attack led to a big transfer of money, that might help with this cyber risk thing, because I think the cyber threats are not minor. They're really, and it's not just financial, of course.
You know, I agree completely. And of course, cyber security today is one of the biggest questions. And we know that it was on the discussion desk of the last meeting between Biden and Putin here in Geneva. And now both sides want to do something about that. But I think that today, this is not something, this blockchain and all the rest, that it is just accumulated in the hands of the bad people. Governments have also hackers. They can use cyber attacks as well as the hackers, and for the contingencies much worse than trafficking and hidden transactions that are taking place nevertheless.
Yeah, absolutely.
Frankly speaking, I think that I read somewhere that the price of the current terrorism overall price is roughly $80 billion annually. Can you imagine that $80 billion can be moved around the world in normal currencies unnoticed? I can't. And that means that they have allies in many structures. Probably, that's my
we hear all the time from the Western point of view here in North America. What we hear is, Russia, the Russian government, Putin personally, is in control of and directing all of these nefarious Russian hackers and all of the ransomware and other kinds of threats that they do, including attacking Estonian, or Ukrainian power grids and all kinds of things. And there was an attack in the US a while back of.
Have you heard about the attack in Russia?
Well, that's the thing. I would bet that it's a mutual thing, that once it's not good guys and bad guys, it's both. But the thing that is interesting is that, Putin has been proposing, maybe for 10 years, some agreement about cyber regulation. And I think people in the US did not listen to him because they don't trust him. I don't either. But he's been more forthcoming about proposing some kind of UN treaty or regulation of some kind. And I'm very skeptical about what can be done. I have no idea. But I wouldn't turn my nose up at that. I would get really down to talking seriously about it.
No doubt about that, Metta. I agree with you, and that's why it's on the agenda of the negotiations now. And for me, it seems that both sides are taking it very seriously, and they have already started the working meetings of the group, which was assigned to that, and they're discussing that. But I want to return to what we were talking. I mean, what we will be facing in the next couple of if not months, then a couple of years. Offline retail is going to die like dinosaurs, simply. You know, e-commerce growed in 3 months at a speed of 10 years. E-commerce, because of the, e-commerce existed before COVID.
I'm not
Electronic,
hearing you. Eco what?
e-commerce, electronic
E-commerce.
commerce.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, you have
Yeah.
you ordered some
Yeah. It's like
food or anything
Amazon.
on the
Yeah.
internet? That's
Yeah, I
what I
get
mean.
stuff.
And it has
Almost
grown in
everything.
the last 3 months like more than it has grown in the past 10 years.
No
And
kidding.
companies,
Why? Why
well,
most? Because
well, because you and I were sitting at home, we're not going to the shops, and it's easier today to order something from, electronics to consumer goods to food on internet.
but I've been doing that for 3 years now, practically.
Yeah,
So
so you were part of this, statistics for the last 10 years.
sure.
I have started doing that with COVID because before that, my wife preferred to go to the grocery and to choose, to look at the groceries and to buy what she wants. But now it's over. At first, it will seem that everything has been restored. But then buyers who have tried online shopping will finally lose interest in retail stores. This is not the beginning of the trend, it is its end. The internet will become the main sales channel for any good, from pencils to cars and real estate. During the COVID, I've changed my car. I bought it on the internet. I didn't have to go even
Really?
to the car dealer. And I think that makes what it makes important, last mile logistics. It will become basic infrastructure like electricity, like transportation, like running water. Developers will begin not only to set the distribution centers, or at least the public parcel lockers in the projects of each locality where the new houses are being built, but also to immediately conclude an agreement with a logistics company, possibly even subsidizing it, because it will attract the buyers to the. When buying any real estate, the buyer will check the local rates for high-speed internet, as well as the number of delivery services and restaurants ready to deliver to this location. It will change the mentality of the people. Private and public parcel lockers in private and apartment buildings will become as commonplace as regular mailboxes are.
Well, we have it here. I'm in a high-rise condo, and
Exactly.
and I have not. I don't know whether I told you. I haven't been out of this apartment in almost 18 months. I went to the garbage chute once about a year and a half ago at midnight. That's it. I do not go out, and I don't want to particularly resume my old lifestyle. I'm just very happy with this. But I would have to say, my original argument was that it's going to be good for global warming in that you won't have to keep 3 different locations, the warehouse, then the retail store, and then your home. It will go directly from the warehouse to your home and leave
you
out
will
this
not
other thing.
have people working for that sorting in the post office,
Right.
receiving you, giving you the parcel or whatever.
But the problem is, I buy tons of things from Amazon. Unlike you, who just resorted to shirts and jeans, I keep buying things that I have no earthly justification for. And but the worst is that they're not very okay. This is a tube of lipstick. Somebody brought this specially to my door and left it for me. One whole trip to bring this one tube of lipstick. And the same day, I had about 5 other things that I ordered from Amazon. They came from different warehouses, I gather. Therefore, they were not combined. I could have waited weeks or months to get this lipstick. It wasn't important. But so why don't they combine it and bring it in one trip? No. So when I talked to somebody about are we saving gas or, CO2 emissions by this system? He said the jury's not out, is still out. They don't know because there's so many separate trips they make to do things like deliver one tube of lipstick, that unless they get more rational about combining things, it's not clear that they're actually saving gas. Now,
Yeah, I can tell you that we are living in interregnum. We're leaving the previous system. We are entering a new one. And now we are privileged to face how it happens. And I see how it happens already. They are testing worldwide in many countries, self-driving cars.
mhm.
In Moscow, Amazon already is delivering goods by robots.
Robots, or I knew they were going to do things with drones. What kind of
drones
robots?
as well, but robots as well.
What do they look like, these robots?
Robots.
But what do they look like? Are they on wheels or?
No, it's like a dog with 4 legs.
Really?
And it runs already around the streets, and they're testing it. It's already in the streets, and they deliver that to you.
Oh, I want one.
We still use the things that we are used to, and we extrapolate thinking that in the future this service will be delivered the same way. It will not.
Yeah.
The cars, self-driving cars, it's already, knocking in our doors. It will be here in no time at all. You talked about blockchain. I think that soon everything will be on blockchain, including democracy, system of democracy, because you just trust your opinion and it cannot be manipulated at all. Guaranteed. That is something, and gives opportunity to express your opinion not once every 4 years, but much more frequently. It gives a possibility to absolutely new system of democracy.
You're saying that public opinion polls would be reflected somehow in this blockchain thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Even today, in fact, we are expressing our opinion dozens of times a day. When you are reading Facebook, when you're reading other social media, you put your likes, dislikes, or anything like that. Mm-hmm. And that's how you express your opinion and preferences. Today, it is being commodified by these companies, that's for sure. But blockchain, not about commodification of your opinion. It's simply an absolutely trustworthy possibility to to keep anything, money, opinion, whatever you just name it, and everything will be there on internet.
Sorry, but I want to know, do you use passwords? Do you use your own name? How do you guarantee that it will not be something that somebody can hack?
Blockchain is a system when you write something on the internet, say, or for instance, you have an agreement with somebody, you sell or you buy a home for you.
Mhm.
And you don't go to the notary, you just do it on blockchain. And this system disperses this information around the world in a coded way, but it exists. It resides in the computers of millions of people, and not a single person is capable to amend anything in this bit of information. And if there is a conflict of something and they say, no, it was not the way, it's easy with the pushing of the button to check whose opinion is equal to the millions which were already invested in the different parts of the world.
Let's say a burglar comes in and gets at my computer and tampers with my computer and makes the deal with you. How are we going to know that it was not me?
No, but it doesn't make any sense. I mean, it's not, it doesn't matter, because if one bit of information is corrupt, millions of the same bit of information on millions of computers is untouched. And it's clear to establish where is the true verifiable bit of information.
And it can't be hacked.
No.
Okay.
That is blockchain system. I understand that it is extremely complicated system. That's one of the problems, because for me, for instance, I understand what is needed for, democratic system to be reset to satisfy the requirements of the modernity, because now, the system of democracy is obsolete, and that's why we have authoritarianism, we have imitational democracy in different parts of the world and the rest of it. But I do not know anything in reality, though I can explain to you, but I don't understand that. The name of Kosygin rings the bell? Alexei Kosygin, no? He was a prime minister at the Brezhnev time.
Kosygin.
Alexei Kosygin.
Sure. Yeah.
He was a prime minister.
Yeah.
And Brezhnev complains to him, listen, Alexei, I do not understand how socialist economy works. And Kosygin, being a prime minister, said, Mr. Secretary General, I can explain to you. And Brezhnev just rebuffs him. No, I can explain it. I want to understand it. So with
Okay,
blockchain,
I want to understand it too,
explain.
because see, the other thing, I'm so scared of the vulnerability that we have of becoming so dependent on our computers, because I mean, I have spent so many thousands of hours fighting my computer and so on. And I think it's now more and more complicated, so complicated now that even the experts often can't explain it or even straighten it out. So I worry that, especially with the coming of these Internet of Things, where everything is all hooked to everything else, the vulnerability is they knock out the internet or some part of it, and you're really sunk. Just like knocking out your electric grid or your sewers or your water system or something like that. I mean, we're so vulnerable.
We are still not very vulnerable, even including artificial intelligence, because according to what people who are working in this area, they say that so far artificial intelligence cannot be even developed to the level of intelligence of a cat. Not to say about the dog, which is 4 times more intelligent. And of course, it's not yet, so far, I do not believe in all this dramatic stories that artificial intelligence will start revolution against humans, etc. It's fiction, even not a science fiction.
I don't know. I know a guy who's a very important person in that movement. He invented something called propagation 50 years ago as his PhD thesis at Harvard. And it is now the basis of what they call the new AI, which I don't understand at all. But he thinks there are things to worry about. And I believe him. But he worries about a lot of other things too. So we can always take our pick of which things to be worried about today.
Absolutely. The most profound and destabilizing change is likely to be in the transition from centralized internet to decentralized internet. Just to explain to you, centralized services typically are run by companies or institutions such as Facebook, Twitter, Amazon. This is centralized internet.
Mm-hmm.
There is a command structure, there is a boss, and changes can be made by deliberate decision of this company.
Mm-hmm.
Like Facebook decided to deprive Trump of possibility to publish his stupid announcements on Facebook. That was a deliberate decision. In this parlance, even Wikipedia counts as centralized, though the editors and contributors are scattered around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Now, decentralized services are harder to define, but two simple examples may be helpful. The first is email. You are using email, I know that, which consists of networks of rules and interconnections not owned by any one company or institution, even though your email provider might be. But the process is not owned by anybody. And the second is the internet, the World Wide Web itself. It is a series of protocols with a huge amount of stuff built on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's algorithmic, not owned by anybody. And it will be self-developing, not according to the whims of the CEO of a corporation or anybody else. And when I hear somebody discuss the future of the internet, the most common question is, what kind of company or service is coming next? And I can tell you, I think that one of the examples of this decentralized service is Clubhouse. I don't know if you've heard about this.
Oh, I've heard of it, but I don't know a thing about it.
Yeah. It's the audio discussion forum it was one of the recent innovations of social media. And there are already a lot of replications. Telegram following suits, WhatsApp trying to do the same, and others. So actually, going from that on, some of the employees and entire organizations have switched to remote work. You know that. Mm-hmm. Already known that roughly 30% of those organizations will not be coming back to physical work. Mm-hmm. The companies have already said, no, we do not need to rent space to do all that. We are quite satisfied with that. And this will truly globalize the labor market. Qualified personnel from all regions and later from around the world will have access to jobs anywhere in the world without relocation. And with Google Translate, they will not need even the language knowledge. I mean, the good language knowledge, because it's easy. I am using that. Well, I speak English more or less.
Well, you certainly do, but I'm thinking, I still think Google Translate has a way to go. I mean, they're sure better than most of the others, It was
But
a huge leap forward a couple of years ago but I
think
still
about
miss things.
think about the vacations, need to pay for vacations of the people. With these people, you don't pay for vacations.
Yeah,
Think about the pension funds. You are not contributing.
yeah.
And in the future, when artificial intelligence will be available already, it will be practically free substitute for office labor. There are very interesting books on these subjects published recently. And the perspectives are uh, immeasurable and immense. Salaries in such jobs will depend more on the demand for skills and intellect rather than on work time and the region of residence.
Mhm.
That's it. And it changes completely the work system of the people. But it's again a different story. I just, touching the tops of various things, but I am I have a course on these issues for the students.
Really?
Full, yeah, it's 28 hours, so
Really?
it's quite in-depth thing, and it's extremely interesting. They like it very much. Well,
What,
anyway,
what is your projection about unemployment? Because I think there's a controversy there. In fact, I'd like to get an article discussing that controversy. Maybe half of the people I know say there's going to be a lot of unemployment because even professors will be replaced with, computers or, prepackaged lecture series and things. And surgeons and
no,
so
Metta, never. That will never happen. And universities will be needed physically because university produces not only expertise, it produces not only specialists in various walks of the life, it produces something intangible but very important, world views
Mhm.
of the
Okay.
students. And in order to produce that, the student must be submerged into atmosphere of a university. You cannot do it, online.
Virtually. Yeah. Okay.
No.
Well, there you've taken one side because I hear people with that point of view, and also people say, well, it's like when horses got replaced by automobiles. There's still jobs for people making cars, etc. And so we can expect the same thing at the next step. But other people say no, that there's going to be a real shortage of certain kinds of jobs, if not all. And then we got to figure out what to do to give people a worthwhile life. And I think it's a really interesting question.
It's overestimated, this problem, of the people losing the jobs. More and more people are working not just for money. I understand that there are plenty of people that are working in order to make their living, that's for
Mhm.
sure. But just recently, we talked about the minimum wage, which maybe will be paid to every person in the country.
Mhm.
In Switzerland, they are talking about roughly 4,000-5,000 Swiss francs per month, every person. It will not give you a luxurious life, but you will not be starving. You will not be, having what to wear, and you will not be deprived of possibility to send your children to school.
Mhm.
But if you want something more luxurious, you have to do something creative. That will be always important in any society because it cannot be substituted so far by artificial intelligence. And that means that those who are not capable, do not want, satisfied with minimum wage they can not work. They will not be starving. They will not be hunger. But those who won't work will have this opportunity. Listen, I'm retired. I do not need to work. I have enough of my pension to have, the life full of trips going to, I don't know, Hawaii or Maldives or whatever. But I'm bored with that.
Of course.
You also doing that not for money completely.
Right. Certainly not for money. I pay my own way.
And that means that the people will be accumulating portfolios of occupation. Something will be paid. Like for instance, when I'm doing lecturing, it is being paid. When I'm teaching the students, it is paid less generously, but still paid. When I'm conferencing, talking to different, university students, it is not paid. And in addition to that, people will accumulate the portfolios of occupation. Part of it will be paid occupation, let us say maybe 7 hours per week. Some of it will be pro bono. Something will be associated with the charity of your choice. And that will keep people occupied and focused on what they are inclined to do, they want to do, rather than they have to do. So in fact, there will be, of course, problems, and there are lots of things to upgrade in terms of training, of the refocusing of the workforce on different new work positions that will be available. It is all there, but generally, the underlying of that, this will not be a source of crisis. And the source of crisis could be if we again screw up, and if we do not draw the necessary lessons with the change of the international system, which has become obsolete, very outdated, and it just opposes any possibility of adapting the international relations to the absolutely new phase with new actors of this international relations, with plurilateral system, not just, a chessboard, like Scowcroft was saying, Kissinger and many others. It will be 3D chess, or maybe, 5D chess, with many, many layers connected not only horizontally, but vertically as well. Look at the coronavirus. Who dealt with that? Cities and regions. In the United States, who dealt? Trump? No. It was New York, it was California, it was Los Angeles, etc., etc. Why?
Well, but I don't think that was a good idea. I mean, it was because Trump was so ineffective that he pushed those decisions off onto other people, where if he'd been smart, he would have taken a leadership role.
I can tell you that in my judgment, it was a good idea.
Really?
I can give you a different example. I live in Geneva. That's the border with France. When COVID exploded, the hospital places in neighboring France were taken in a jiffy, all of it. All hospitals were full, and there were no beds, hospital beds for that. And there were roadblocks between the nations, between Switzerland and France, and nothing could be done. And then Geneva and Lyon came together and signed an agreement that Geneva wants to help, and Lyon, by helicopters, by trains which were rebuilt into sanitary trains, were delivering the sick people to Geneva, and Geneva clinics helped that.
Really?
That's what can be done on a local level,
Mhm.
while on the major central level, it cannot be done. Think about the security issues. You live in the neighborhood. Who knows better if some strange face comes in your surrounding, your neighbors? You know, I am on a group on Facebook of my community in Geneva. And each time somebody noticed something strange, he says, look, be cautious. There was an attempt of a burglar in a neighboring house or something. The person who did it looks like, and then the description.
Mhm.
Police, central police, is picking up this information from the neighborhood people. So I think with the possibility of the social networks, of the possibility of people, you know, sharing this information in real time with everybody who lives there is very important. And it creates new opportunities, which cannot be resolved in a centralized structure as before. So I think that the future will be, as who was it? Parag Khanna wrote a book about that, very interesting book about, he says, the concept of 5 C's: companies, commonwealths, cities, something else and else, 5 segments, which will be substituting states in the future. And I feel already the nucleus of this process.
Okay, I'm ready to go there. I like that.
The modern system, the sovereignty, national, belonging to a state sovereignty, was created only in 1648. That's the Peace of Westphalia, after the 30 years religious war in Europe. And it existed for 300 years. We did not have that before. And if something was created by people, that means that it will not be endlessly developing. So I think we are approaching a new, absolutely new system of the organization of the international relations.
You know, especially this thing about alternative ways of organizing that are not territorially bound, that are not draw lines on a map, but relationships among networks.
You know, you can make a roadmap only when you have discovered the land. This is not yet discovered space. There are no roadmaps.
But we do. We already have our social groups on Facebook, for example.
Oh, yes. Yes.
We already have our websites and the links between them and the connections. We have our networks, and my network is absolutely global. I'm sure yours is even more global.
Our networks, Metta, are still in the kindergarten age. It will be totally different, and very soon, both of us will see it.
Say this again.
We both will.
We'll see how soon. I mean, tell me more. Go on. I'm not going to shut you up. You're going to have to leave on your own accord. Okay. But what makes you think that there's going to be a different kind of network? That see, I'm more pessimistic than you are. I'm concerned about the fact that, for example, Facebook won't let me reach out to and post this. Probably Facebook will say that I cannot pay to advertise this very show because this is about social issues and they say you can't talk about politics or anything serious. They want me to show pictures of my breakfast or my cat or something, and that's about it. But sometimes they let me through, but sometimes they don't. And it's very annoying because I can't fight them. They are really big and powerful, and I can't win. And the same when it comes to, for example, I will want to send out a poster with your picture on it and promote this. People should. We have a mailing list of over 6,000 now, and I want to send out a poster describing this so that people will watch. The problem is there are laws about spamming. So this will be considered spamming. And I can't get the messages out that I want. Theoretically, the people are always complaining about the loss of privacy. I'm complaining about the fact that I'm constantly being censored. Our conversation, in effect, will be censored by Facebook. And it isn't the loss of privacy that bothers me. It's the fact I can't talk to the people I want to reach.
First of all, that's exactly about the difference between centralized networks like Facebook and the new system, decentralized system, where there are no bosses, which is evolving. If you are so annoyed by Facebook, many people are switching to Telegram, which is much less regulated than Facebook, for instance. And it has already, of course, it doesn't have 3 billion members like Facebook, but I don't think that you need to reach to 3 billion people with what you are writing. In any case, I doubt that 3 billion are reading everything that everybody is publishing. And we will see the decentralized version of this very soon, in a matter of maybe a couple of years, 1-2 years. Because already there are examples of these decentralized social networks and systems which do exist. But I don't think that I'm interesting for 60,000 or whatever. The people who would be interested in this layman perspective, which I'm trying to formulate, is much less, of course.
Well, but that's because people are stupid. I told you that's the problem. People are not interested in theorizing and intellectual, cognitive work, which is sort of what this is. But we're back to, here I could change the subject completely and go back to telling you that, remember when we were going to try to make a television show about Green Cross International?
Of course, yes.
I'm still trying. I'm back to trying to do it because I'm convinced that I spend all my time doing these extremely interesting conversations with very important people. I just did one with Lloyd Axworthy, the former foreign minister of Canada. And I've got one coming up with Jack Matlock, I'll tell you about, et cetera. I've got all these really high-powered people with very interesting ideas, and you. And then, so but people are not that interested. And that's the problem. They don't base their intellectual work, their decisions on intellectual information, but on emotions. And so we have to actually put stuff out that people will want to watch because it's entertaining and emotionally satisfying. So I'm back into trying to create a show, but I'm going to do it now on YouTube.
Thank you very much, Mary. It's such a pleasure always to talk to you.
Oh, I just love talking to you too. So we'll do it again soon. I want to take that course. 26 weeks, you say, of a course on what the world is going to be like after COVID. 26
seminars, lectures, and 2 exams. Don't forget that.
Oh, I'll take the exam. You'll pass me, I know. Okay, this has been great fun.